Ladies and gentlemen, I want to read you a Guardian article. McCarthy, January tapes to be slowly rolled out to networks besides Fox News, and it talks about more January footage, more security and surveillance footage, likely that we haven't seen. Okay, exculpatory evidence should never be denied defendants. Okay, you can condemn January and also condemn the Department of Justice withholding evidence. Okay, it's not the battle. This was a terrible day, but it wasn't the Battle of Antietam. It wasn't Pearl Harbor. And Democrats tried desperately to make this into something it wasn't. It was, and this is why you have these derangement issues with Trump. Just say it was not wise, a terrible day, and should never have happened. Leave it at that. Don't go into, well, this is tearing up our democracy and it's an affront on, the republic. And don't go into these grandiose, hyperbolic diatribes where you have to paint Trump as this menace devouring democracy. Then you lose almost half the electorate all the time. Because that summer, and I agree with why people demonstrated peacefully that summer, but there was $1 to $2 billion in property damage according to Wikipedia. I'm not equating the two reasons why people protested. I'm saying that I didn't see Kinzinger shed any tears for 19 lives lost, thousands of police officers injured that summer, curfews in every major city, $1 to $2 billion in property damage. And we have this political amnesia. Joe Scarborough and everybody at MSNBC and CNN. This is complete political and societal amnesia. They don't see what everyone has seen, or it's completely different to them. It was that summer of chaos was completely spontaneous, had nothing to do with the Democratic Party, had nothing to do with democracy, and you know what? It just happened. Just deal with it. It's completely different from January. It's like, well, but you're talking about property damage, lives lost, arrests. There were 14,000 arrests that summer. And Democrats were bailing out people who committed crimes, some of whom then committed terrible, heinous crimes afterwards. So you have a situation where there is not only a double standard, but when CNN says, well, fiery but mostly peaceful with a building in flames behind the reporter, there's a huge problem in American politics. Hit subscribe to this channel. I should have a live stream tonight at around 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. But McCarthy's going to release more footage. And again, I support why people demonstrated peacefully that summer, but it's not a talking point. Like this article talks about, McCarthy also wielded a common talking point, likening January to protests for justice, which sometimes turned chaotic. Again, the Guardian does not, there is this blind spot, this amnesia. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Even the Guardian, they will never look at chaos and mayhem and political upheaval when it's linked to the Democratic Party or liberal or left-leaning or whatever, the causes left of center. That just happened. And it's a talking point. It's not, how do you ignore $1 to $2 billion in property damage? Yeah, that's just insured. How do you possibly ignore that? I don't know how you even ignore that. It's in Wikipedia, the Bible of every morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats, Wikipedia. We've gone from Encyclopedia Britannica, remember those in like the 80s or whatever, like every decade before today, you'd have an encyclopedia, and they never talked about, this person is spreading information that misinforms. That was always a subjective allegation or an accusation, a viewpoint that somebody is just that information that person has is different from the information that I think is more accurate. This has now become part of the encyclopedia. So Wikipedia is like an online encyclopedia, and of course, anyone on the left or Democrat or CNN journalist, the Wikipedia entry will never list the critique of that person from a conservative publication. But not so if it's a person who is a conservative. Then suddenly you'll get the critique from all the publications that say the same thing about politics all the time. Okay? And, I mean, that's another issue. This exculpatory evidence is, when they say the narrative, they're trying to lie to you. You can't lie with more information, okay? Only Democrats or media would say that you're lying by finding out more information. Does that make any sense? Hit subscribe if you want to support my work long term. My Patreon is below, ladies and gentlemen. And to the super thanks, there's super thanks below. But McCarthy is doing a very good job. His poll numbers are actually like, they say rivaling Trump, but I don't really believe that. I don't think he's rivaling Trump. But I told everybody he'd be very good. Did I not tell everybody that he would be very good? He's not the Paul Ryan. I told everyone, I said, look, just like I told everyone there would be a stock market crash, which there is, unfortunately. There's a stock market crash brewing, and we'll talk about that tonight. I'll either have a 5 p.m. or a 9 p.m. live stream. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. But you just can't bail out every bank that fails. It's not possible to do that through FDIC. FDIC only insures $9 trillion. Okay, that's $9 trillion is like the 4 or 5 largest banks in the country. Just the 4 or 5 largest. We're not talking about hundreds of banks now, just the 4 or 5 largest. What they're doing with SVB and now other banks is they're saying, well, don't worry, that bank is it's going to be completely taken over and nobody will lose money. They're trying desperately to avert a crisis that's already, the Pandora's box has already been opened. The cat's out of the bag. So, and this is Biden's policies. Then they say, oh, well, the market's up today. But again, you have to understand why is the market up? The market is up because Wall Street for a moment thinks that every bank now will be bailed out, okay? This is, of course, not reasonable or rational. And so we still have a problem with inflation. Inflation is still, 6 to 7%, and far more. When they say that inflation is down, food prices are still at record highs now. Food prices, rent, and energy are still very high. So, and they've increased. So, up 6%, inflation gauge increased 0.4% as expected, up 6% from a year ago. It's like, well, they said inflation was temporary. Okay, these things are taking place under Biden's administration. We have inflation through the roof, real wages down. We have the Russian jet shot down a U.S. drone. I was going to do a segment on that, but nobody really cares about these things now on YouTube. And I think that people are numb. I know that a lot of my viewers are numb. They're just numb to everything. But I've been telling people, like, a lot of pretty accurate assessments of what's going on. I said McCarthy will be good. There will be a stock market crash. I've been saying that for the past 2 years. I think Hillary Clinton will be the 24 nominee. I don't see mashed potato brains going in for the second term. I think that he'll retire or with impeachment. He won't be obviously kicked out, but because you'd need 67 senators. But there will be impeachment. They're not going to roll into 24 with Hunter and Joe and hundreds of millions of dollars in very, very shady financial deals. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. There will be more video footage. Okay, that's a good thing. It's a good thing for justice. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe. And it's a good thing for our democracy. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now to this channel. Be here today for